Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Apa kabar?
Waalaikumsalam.
Saya dah balik kampung?
Alhamdulillah, beginilah.
Okay.
Di rumah aja.
Yeah, the COVID-19 cases has been increasing again. So, this is something very worrying. Raya nak datang. So, be careful. All right. What I plan to do today, I'm going to move on to 12.2. That is on another rule of integration. And then we will look at applications. All right, application for the chapter 11. We're not going to do the other part, 12.3 and then 12.5. We will do up to only 12.1, 0.2, 0.4. 4 is the application. And of course, the applications in 12.1 and 12.2. Okay. Right now, the rule that we are looking at 12.2 is what you call the power rule, the general power rule. It's like you have not just x to the power of n you want to integrate, but we have some compound terms in x, or another function in x that you want to integrate. So that is where you have the power rule. Okay. Example will be something like this. You have, we have something like, let's say you want to integrate y equal to 4x, say 4x power 5. Okay, you want to integrate, we know how to do this. But here, you got y equal to, say, 4x squared plus 5, everything to the power of 4. So now, how do you integrate? So this is what what we need is the general power rule. Just like the general power rule for the derivative. So this is the rule. Okay. Now you have the function will be something like this. You have the function, let's say y equal to, or the integral of a function, or the form, that is the form that is given. So you have something like this. Let's say you have the function y equal to 3x squared plus 4. This is from the book. All right. About 5, 6x. Of course, you have this function. X. Okay. Anak siapa tu? Anak siapa ke adik siapa? Okay, you have this function. Now, how do we integrate? Okay, this is the rule. You let u be equal to the terms in the bracket. All right, let's say this is u of x, because we just don't have a simple x. You have a compound terms in x, and you'll see that this is u prime of x. So what you are integrating is that so f of x, or the integral, I don't you want to find integral, the integral will be equal to what? The integral of y dx, okay, will be equal to the integral of u of x to the power of n. All right, and then you have u prime of x dx. And then the integral will be equal to u of x, everything to the power of n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. So actually, this rule is that we require the form of the initial function. The function that you wanted to integrate will be this form. All right, you have u to the power of n, and then you multiply by u prime, and then the integral will be just u to the power of n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. So the function that you have initially will be equal to u multiplied by u prime. So in short, we will do in short form. So you have u to the power of n multiplied by u prime dx, right? And the integral will be u to the power of n plus 1 over n plus 1. Okay, where u is a function of x. Okay, u is a function of x. Hello. Tu bunyi siapa tu? Kalau boleh mute tu. Ada bunyi budak tu. Right. So you have the form like this. You have to have the form u to the power of n multiplied by u prime. Then the integral will be u to the power of n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. Okay. So you cannot only have, let's say you have a function in this form, the prime is not there. The u prime is missing. So let's say you only have integral of u to the power of n, okay, dx. This one, the integral is not equal to that thing. So we cannot integrate like that. Okay, you can't do that. The only way to integrate, okay, the function, you will have that form. U to the power of n multiplied by u prime, then the integral will be what? Will be equal to u n plus 1 over n plus 1. Okay, all right. So if you look at this function here, we cannot integrate this function in that form. We can only integrate if, okay, we can integrate if you have y prime or u prime, u prime is present there. So the function that we can integrate would be if I have here 8x. All right, so I have 8x, then only I can integrate. So the integral of this function will have the form that u to the power of n, u prime dx. Then integral will be that. Okay, so you get the rule? Okay, now we look at a few more examples. So let's say you want to find the integral of that thing. So I will use that example. 4x squared plus 5, everything to the power of 4 multiplied by x. So I want to integrate 4x plus 5 to the power of, wait, 4x squared plus 5 to the power of 4. X squared plus 5 to the power of 4. And then I have 8x dx. So if I want to integrate that, what do we do? Now we know the rule is that we should have u to the power of n multiplied by u prime dx. Then only the integral will be equal to this thing. Okay. So what you do here is you let u be equal to the terms in the to the whole thing. Let u be equal to 4x squared plus 5. Right? Then what is u prime? U prime here is du dx. Okay, u prime is du dx. Okay, that will be equal to 8x. So now what you do, you go back to formula. So here, okay, you look at that function, you have the form u, okay, to the power of 4, which is u 4x squared plus 5 to the power of 4. And then I have u prime, which is 8x. So I got u prime dx. So I have the form. So you see here, this is u prime. This is what? This is u. So I have u to the power of 4, u prime dx. So what is the integral? So here you can do the integration. The integral will be what? U to the power of 5 divided by 5 plus c. And now you put in back the u. So what do we get? You got 4x squared plus 5 to the power of 5 divided by 5 plus c. Okay, so you have to have in the beginning the u prime, okay, in that function. Then only we can integrate. Okay, all right, I'll give you another example. So let's say example number 2, we have to find the integral of 6x multiplied by 3x squared plus 4 to the power of 6 dx. So here you cannot use simply the simple power rule, okay? You need to try the general power rule. So what you do? You let u be equal to 3x squared plus 4. And then what is u prime? U prime is 6x. So you look back into the function. Here you have what? You have u. Okay, u is 3x squared plus 4. So I have the integral form u to the power of n. Okay, of course, n is 6. So you can put either n or 6, and then you move back to the equation. So you got that form u to the power of n. Okay, of course, n is 6, and then 6x. Now 6x is the u prime. So I have the form u to the power of n, u prime dx. And you know that the integral will be equal to what? U n plus 1 over n plus 1. All right. So you go back to this function. So I have what? I have u to the power of 6, u prime dx. So what is the integral? It will be u to the power of 7 over 7 plus c. And then you put back the u. What is u? U is 3x squared plus 4. Okay, to the power of 7 divided by 7 plus c. Okay, any question? Anything? So you have to have the u prime, okay? You have to have the u prime in that form, okay, in the function that you want to integrate. Okay, now let's look at another example. Okay, you finished? Yeah, you done? All right. Now another example, let's say I have, you want to find the integral of 5x cubed minus 12, okay, raised to the power of negative 6, and then I have 15x squared dx. Right, I want to find the integral. So here you apply the general power rule. So you let u be equal to the terms in the bracket. I got 5x cubed minus 12. And then what is u prime? U prime is 15x squared. So now you look back into the function. What form do I have? I have here u, okay, to the power of negative 6. And what is this? This is u prime. Okay, so I have the form u to the power of negative 6 multiplied by u prime dx. So therefore, what is the integral? So I have here u to the power of negative 6, u prime dx. So the integral will be equal to u to the power of negative 5 divided by negative 5 plus c. And of course, you go back and substitute that u. You have what? I have 5x cubed minus 12, everything to the power of negative 5 divided by negative 5 plus c. Okay, all right. Now I'll give you another example. Okay, this one I want you to do. So another example, I would like you to integrate the following. Let's say we have 7x to the power of 10 plus 24 power of 3. And then I have here 70x to the power of 9 dx. Okay, now do the integration by the general power rule. So you let the terms in the bracket be u, and then apply the rule. Okay, go ahead. I'll give you 2 minutes to do it. Okay, you got it? You got the integral? So you let u be equal to 7x to the power of 10. Okay, 7x to the power of 10. And then you find u prime. Okay, what do you get? You let u be equal to what? 7x to the power of 10 plus 24. Now you take u prime. What is u prime? U prime is 70x to the power of 9. Now, do we have u to the power of n multiplied by u prime, the form? Yes, we do. So if you look at the function, so if this is the u, okay? What is this? That's u prime. So you have what? I have something like this. I got u to the power of 3 multiplied by u prime dx. So what is this integral? The integral will be equal to u to the power of 4 over 4 plus c. And then put back the u. So what I have 7x to the power of 10 plus 24 raised the power by 1, so divided by 4 plus c. Now, any problem? Okay, good, okay. All right, do you get it? Anybody who has question or you have, any concern about this? Okay, so you have to have what? You have to have u to the power of n multiplied by u prime. Then only we can integrate by the power rule. Okay, all right. Now I give you another example. Let's say I have the following. Let's say I have 6x to the power of 4 plus 35. Okay, I want to integrate that. That is to the power of 7 multiplied by 4x cubed. Let's say just multiply by x cubed dx. Okay, now find the integral. Okay, I want you to get me the u prime. What is u prime?
X cubed.
U prime, u prime. I mean, you have to don't just say u prime is x cubed. You have to let u be the terms in the bracket. Okay, what is the term in the bracket?
6x to the power
6x to the power of 4 plus 35. Then you take u prime. Okay, so what is u prime?
24 to the power of 3.
You have 24 x to the power of 3. Okay, so you let u be the terms in the bracket. So that means, you know, u is equal to 6x to the power of 4 plus 35. Now you don't just assume that this thing here, okay, this is the trick. You don't just assume this thing here is u prime. Okay, you have to find it. That means you have to get the things in the bracket as u, you know, which is 6x to the power of 4 plus 35. And then u prime is 24x to the power of 3. Okay, so now you have here u, okay, to the power of 7. So you have u to the power of 7. But is this u prime? The one that is given in the function u cubed x to the power of 3, I'm sorry, x cubed. Is it u prime?
No, sir.
Right? Janganlah dia diam. Is that u prime? The one that is given in the function, is it u prime or is it not?
No.
It is not. Okay, it is not. So x cubed is not u prime. Okay, u prime is not x cubed. U prime should be what? Should be u prime equal to 24x cubed. So we are not given u prime. Okay, you are given by something less, you know. That means it's short by 24. Okay, so you need 24. You need that 24 into the function in order for us to be able to do the integration. So how do you do that? How do you get 24 into the function? Can we do it or we cannot do it? We can. Okay, we can. What you have to do is, so here we are short by some constant. Okay, so what you do, we can multiply. Okay, we can multiply by ratio of constant. Let's say we call it a over a. Now a is a constant. Constant. Now, A over A, what is the equal to? You have a constant over constant. All right, a constant divided by the same constant, what do you get? What is it equal to?
One.
Equal to 1. Okay, equal to 1. So example, if I multiply by what? 2 over 2, you know, that is equal to 1. So if I multiply by 1, okay, a constant over the same constant, that do not change, okay? The form here don't change, will remain the same. Okay, there is no change. You are not changing the equation. Okay, you don't change the equation because you are multiplying by 1. Nothing changed. So here, I need 24, all right, which I'm short of because u prime is 24x cubed. So what do? So I multiply by what? So I multiply by 24 over 24. So if I multiply by 24 over 24, that is equal to 1. So I can do that. So what you do here, you split the 24 over 24. The 24 at the top, you put into the coefficient as the coefficient of x cubed. And then the denominator, you bring it out. Okay? So I multiply by 24 over 24. This is what we get. So you multiply by 24 over 24. Then, okay, then you have to be equal to this. Be equal to, you bring the 1 over 24. I think I will spend another step, all right, for the beginning. So you multiply by 24 over 24, put it there. Okay, and then I have 6x to the power of 4 plus 35 to the power of 7 x cubed dx. All right, so u prime is 24x cubed. So what we do, we rearrange the 24 over 24. So the numerator, you go to the x cubed. So what I have now, and then the denominator 1 over 24 is just a constant, you can bring it out. So 1 over 24 you bring out, because it's just a constant. Multiplied by 6x to the power of 4 plus 35 to the power of 7. Now, here it becomes 24x cubed dx. So what I have now is that this is u prime, okay? And that is u. So now I have the form. U to the power of 7 multiplied by u prime, which is 24, okay? But remember, you are adjusting it by the constant, which is the denominator. You bring it out. So now the integral will be equal to what? Be equal to 1 over 24, okay? U to the power of 8 divided by 8 plus c. So now you put in the u, I got 1 over 24 multiplied by 6x to the power of 4 plus 35, everything to the power of 8 divided by 8 plus c. Okay, correct. I give you another example. Okay, I want you to practice this. So you can multiply by a constant, all right, a over a, whatever it is, so that you get the u prime. Okay, all right. So I'll give you another example. Let's say I want to find 8. Tak siap lagi? Huh?
Sir, I want to ask, how do we get the 24x over x square, x cube?
Tunggu, I will come back.
U prime.
Okay, I'll come back to that.
Okay, sir.
Sekejap. Okay, what was your question? How do I get what? How do I get the u prime?
How do we get from the x cube becomes 24x?
Okay,
Yeah,
I will,
the u prime.
So how do I get the 24x? Okay, you tell me as what you understand from what we discussed. Okay, how do I get that 24? What did I do? What did I multiply that with? Anybody?
To get the 24?
Ah, how did I do it?
6 times 4.
I multiply by what?
6 times 4.
I multiply by 24 over 24. Okay. So I want the 24, all right? This is what I want. I want that 24 because what you have in the question or in the equation, I have only x cubed, which is not u prime. It should be what? It should be 24x cubed. And that is what I want. So what do? I multiply by what? I multiply by 24 over 24. Now, why can we multiply by 24 over 24? Because 24 over 24 is what? Is equal to 1. Okay? Now, you can multiply by whatever, okay, so that you get the u prime. If we multiply by ratio of two constants, same constant. Okay? So here I want 24. I multiply by 24 over 24. If I want 12, let's say the u prime is equal to 12x cubed, then what do I multiply that with? I want 12. So suppose u prime is 12 x cubed. So I want the 12. So what do I multiply that with? You're given x cubed. Okay? This is what I have. I want 12 x cubed. So what do? I multiply by what? I multiply by 12 over 12. Betul tak? 12 over 12. So here I need 24. So I multiply by 24 over 24. Because 24 over 24 is equal to 1. Okay. So that's why I put here 24 over 24. All right. I multiply by 24 over 24. So I got 24 over 24 multiplied by everything in the equation. So now you rearrange the 24 on the numerator, you bring it to the x cube. The denominator, you just maintain it, bring it out. So now what do we have? We have u to the power 7, u prime. Okay? Now we can integrate. So the key here is to get the u prime, you multiply by ratio of constant over the same constant. So like I said earlier, we can multiply by what? I can multiply by the ratio, okay? Multiply by ratio of A over A. Why I can do that? Because it is equal to 1. You cannot multiply by A over B. All right? Or in other words, example here, I can multiply by 24 over 24. I can do that because it's equal to 1. I cannot multiply by A over B. So example, I got multiplied by 24 over 12. Can I do that? Okay, this one equal to 2. So I cannot. Because if you multiply by anything other than 1, that is going to change the equation, which we are not supposed to do. Okay, we cannot change the equation. The equation must be equivalent. So the one way to do is multiply by something which is equal to 1. Okay, all right. Do you get it or you don't get it? If you don't, let me know again. I will explain again one more time. Because this is important lah, for this part. Okay, kita okay?
Oh,
Okay.
so the u prime is the question, and then we need to so we need to adjust to the formula. Adjust to the. Okay,
yes,
okay, I
that's right.
Okay.
You must adjust to get u prime. Okay, and how do you adjust? You can only adjust by multiplying a constant over the same constant. Okay.
Okay, sir.
All right. Okay. You do one more question. Okay. You do one more example so that we can get it better. So this is example 2. Okay, do this one. Tadi cube juga ke? Sekejap. Cube juga, tukar. Mana? Semuanya cube ni. So, tukar ni. Tak ada power lain ke saya ni? Okay, we use another power. So let's say this is the power of 3. 3 lagi, okay, 2 of 7. Okay, and this is from 6. So what you do, you let u be equal to the terms in the bracket, and then you find u prime. Okay, all right. So you compare the u prime that you get to that what is given in the equation. Okay, all right, you got it. Okay, what is u prime?
(56x power of 6).
You got 56x to the power of 6. Okay, good. So that is u prime. All right. Now, what you have is what? What is in the equation is not 56x to the power of 6. It is x to the power of 6. So, okay, if you let u be equal to 8x to the power of 7 minus 41, then u prime is 56x to the power of 6. So what you have here, all right, what I have is, in the equation, I have 6x to the power of 6. And x to the power of 6, so I think here I write here, we have, all right, x to the power of 6. And that is not equal to what? That is not equal to u prime. Okay, what you have in the equation is x to the power of 6, and that is not u prime. I need u prime. Okay, you need 56x to the power of 6, because that is the u prime. So what do we do? Multiply by what? You don't multiply by 56.
1 over 56.
No, you don't multiply by 1 over 56.
56 over 56.
You multiply by 56 over 56. Okay, so you remember again, we need to multiply only by constant of ratio, the same constant. Okay, you cannot multiply by 1 over 56. Okay, you cannot do that. Why? Because that will change the equation. Okay, now you cannot multiply by just 56, because that will also change the equation. We can only multiply by something that is equivalent to 1. Okay, so in this case, you multiply by, we need 56. So you multiply the top by 56, you have to multiply the bottom by 56. That is equal to 1. Okay, this one is okay. Okay, so you rearrange the terms. Okay, by now I think you understand already the idea. So you multiply by 56. What you do, you bring 1, okay, the top, you put it there. The bottom, you bring it out. So you multiply by 56. So I just put here, I multiply by 56. So now you don't have to write equal to 1. No? Okay, that is just for our purposes. So what I have now is what? The integral. Now I break it out because we already understood. So I bring the 1 over 56 out. Okay, and I have the u x over 7 minus 41 x over 5 to the 5, and then the top I got 56 x to the power 6 dx. So here you have u prime. This is u to the power of 5, and that is now what? U prime. So you got the form already. So I got the form, the integral of u to the power of 5 u prime dx. And of course, you have 1 over 56. Okay, the constant, don't worry about the constant. The constant will just follow the integral. So what is it equal to? It's equal to 1 over 56 u to the power of 6 divided by 6 plus c. And then you put in back the u, okay, which is equal to 8x to the power of 7 minus 41. Then that will be our final form. Okay, so you put in the u, that is equal to 1 over 56 multiplied by 8x to the power of 7 minus 41, everything to the power of 6 divided by 6. Okay, all right. Okay, I give you another equation. Okay, we do another example. Suppose I want to find the integral of 3x to the power of 6 minus 21. Everything to the power of negative 4. Multiplied by 12x to the power of 5 dx. Okay. So now I want you just to look at u and then what is u prime? And then you compare to what you have in the equation. Okay, what is u prime? And now what is u? You know u is everything in the bracket, right? So now what is u prime?
3x over power of 6 minus 21.
No, u prime. That is u. U prime?
18x5.
You have u prime is 18x over 5. Now what is in the equation?
12x5.
12x5, which is not u prime. Okay? So how can you have 18 in the equation, because that is u prime. Okay, so good. Okay, you let u be equal to the terms in the bracket, and then u prime is 18x to the power 5. Okay, now what you are given is 12x to the power 5, and that is not u prime. Okay, u prime is 18x. You are given, you have 12. So now how do you get 18 to the u prime? Multiply by what?
1.5.
You make your life difficult. You multiply by 1.5 over 1.5. 12 multiplied by 1.5, is it 18? Yeah. Okay, you can do that. Okay, you can do that. You can multiply by 1.5 multiplied by 12. Yeah, you can do that. Okay, because you are short by 6. Okay, you multiply by, that's a good thing. That's a good idea. You multiply by 1.5 divided by 1.5. Okay, you bring that 1.5 to the outside, the new denominator, and then you have the one that is inside. So, but I follow your idea. That's good. So you multiply by 1.5 over 1.5. So now what do I get? I get 1 over 1.5. You bring the denominator out right away. 3x to the power of 6 minus 21 to the power of negative 4. So I multiply by the denominator, numerator, I'm sorry. The 12 multiplied by 1.5, I got 18. So that becomes 18x to the power 5 dx. Okay, so that is one way. All right, Now, if I don't want to do it in terms of decimal places, okay, I just want it to use a ratio of two constants. What do I multiply that with? A constant whole number, okay? Whole number. I don't want the decimal point like this. I want either, 3/3 or 5/5. So what do I multiply that with? I want 18. So you multiply by what? I multiply by 18/18. Okay? Because what I need is 18. You are given 12. So you don't worry about that 12. Okay? Don't worry about this. You worry only what you want. Okay? What we want is 18. So you multiply by 18/18. So you switch. That 12, you bring it out. Okay? So that will become what? That will become, and then you arrange the terms. Okay? So that 12, which is multiplied by x over 5, you bring it out. And then the denominator of that 18, you bring it out. But now you have what? I have 3x to the power of 6 minus 21, okay, to the power of -4. So now I got 18x to the power of 5 dx. So I got 12/18, okay? 12/18 because you are given 12 here. Okay, so you are given 12, all right? Then you bring it out, divide by the new denominator, 18, and then the 18 you put into the coefficient of x to the power of 5. Okay, so if you find this thing here, 12/18, of course, equal to 1/1/5. Lah. Okay, all right. Any question about this? So what you do here, okay, I think I can put another immediate step. So we do this, okay? You multiply by 18/18. So that becomes, I write another step, okay? 18/18, I put it there. Multiply by 3x to the power of 6 minus 21 to the power of -4, 12x to the power of 5 dx. Like that. Okay, so from here, then only I got that thing. So you rearrange. The 12 and 18, you switch, and then you bring the constant out, which is now 12/18. Okay, so you don't have to worry whatever the constant that you are given. Okay, it can give you 3. Okay, you can have 3x for 5 or 2, But what you need is you just multiply by the coefficient of the u prime, whatever it is. So that will be the easiest thing to do, okay? Because if you do it by 1.5, you have to think about what 12 multiplied by what? You got 18, okay? Now let's say here, instead of 12, I give you, let's say it is 5x to the power of 3. No, 5x to the power of 5. Okay, 5x over 5. So now, how do you multiply that? So you must be thinking 5 multiplied by 2 point berapa, okay? So what you do, you don't worry about the constant that you have. You simply multiply by 18/18. And then you make adjustment with that 5. Okay, all right? Any questions? Okay, good. So that is the general power rule. I'll give you another one, Sometimes, that thing is not as simple as what you have here. Sometimes, the u prime will be a little bit more complicated than what you are given here. So let's look at another example. Let's say you want to find the integral of 8x cubed minus tidak saya tunjuk balik because benda ni, you know, you have to have a form, then only we can do the integral. So let me get the equation. So 8x to the power of 3 So 8x cubed minus 12x. Okay. This is raised to the power of 10. And then you got 24x squared minus 12. Okay, dx. All right. Okay, now I want you to find the integral. Okay, do it. I'll give you 3 minutes. Okay, what do you get? Now, what is u? If you let u be equal to the terms in the bracket, so you got what? 8x cubed minus 12x. Now, what is u prime? What is u prime?
20.
U prime is good. Everything in the bracket, or everything from there is u prime. Okay, you got 24x squared minus 12. So you got the form. Okay, so I have the form u to the power of 10 u prime dx. So the integral will be equal to what? So this is u, and that is u prime. Okay, so I got form u to the power of 10 u prime dx, and the integral will be u to the power of 11 over 11 plus c. And that is, of course, equal to 8x cubed minus 12x, everything to the power of 11 divided by 11 plus c. Okay, so sometimes, you know, what I'm saying, you know, this example is that sometimes you have the term for u, you can take the derivative, both of them. But again, make sure that you still have the u prime. Okay, so that's it. Now, for example, if I make adjustment to this question, suppose I have the following: 8x cubed minus 12x, everything to the power of 10. But now, all right, I have 12x squared minus 1. Okay, no, minus 1. Minus 6 dx. Okay, so you are given 12x minus 6 instead of 24x squared minus 12, which is not u prime. Okay, so can you multiply by a ratio of a constant that we get u prime? Okay, what do you multiply that with? So that we got 24x squared minus 12.
24 divided 24. 24 over 24.
2 over
2.
If you multiply by 24 over 24, okay, let's see. If you multiply by 24 over 24, then you can only make adjustment to the first term. Okay, but the second term, you need 12. Boleh 24 over 24, you multiply by 12. Okay, so let me do it. So if you multiply by 24 over 24, I have 12 over 12x squared minus 6. Is that right? 12x squared minus 6. 12x squared minus 6. Multiply by 24 over 24. By 24 over 24. That will be equal to. Okay, so you multiply by 24 over 24. That would be equal to, well, you multiply the first thing, okay, the first term, I got 24 over, multiply by 12 over 24, okay, x squared. And then you got the second term, 24 over 24, multiply by 6. Okay, but the second term, you have a problem here. Okay, because you want 12, right? You multiply by this, you get 12. No, you don't. Okay, you don't get 12. You will still get a 6. Okay, what do you multiply that with? Because here the difference is that you want a 24 for the first term. I want a 12 on the second term. All right. So that is the thing. So you cannot multiply by 24 over 24.
It's 2 multiply 2 over 2.
You multiply by 2, yeah. Okay, you multiply by 2. If you multiply by 2 here, you multiply by 2, you got 12 minus 12. No, I'm sorry. You multiply by 2, you got 24 minus 12. But you cannot multiply by 2. You have to multiply by 2 over 2. So here, all right, you multiply by 2 over 2. So if you multiply by 2 over 2, then what you will have is that you get 1 over 2 multiplied by 24x cubed minus 12. Okay, then you can do it. So when you have two terms, all right, you have to multiply by a factor, okay, a factor, a constant, a factor. Normally they will give you a common factor. So that you multiply, you will get the u prime. If you cannot do that, then tak boleh buat lah. Okay, suppose you are given 12x squared minus 5. So now there is no factor between 12 and 5. Okay, if you multiply by 2 over 2, you can only do it at that point. You cannot do this one. If you multiply by, no, you cannot. All right. So if you got like this, that means we cannot integrate. Okay. All right. If it is a single term, then it'll be easy. Single term is like what we were doing last time. But now you have two terms, so you have to satisfy both. Okay. So normally these terms, all the terms, the constants or the coefficient in the u prime, you can multiply by a certain factor. If you cannot, that means you cannot integrate. Okay, so they will give you something like this lah. All right, either you can multiply by 2 or you can multiply by 3 so that you will get the u prime. Okay, all right. Okay, any question? So I give you some more questions, homework questions. All right. Okay, there is another possibility. Another possibility will be like this. Suppose you want to find the integral of 2x to the power of 4 plus 35 to the power of negative 3 8x squared dx. Okay, now you find you get the u and then get the u prime. So what is u prime? Oh, what?
Sir, 235 sir.
Huh? 235?
35
35.
Okay.
235 apa benda? Oh, 2 tu cakap Melayu. 35 tu cakap Inggeris. Saya ingatkan 235. Okay, so what is the u prime?
U prime is a
Power of cube.
The u prime, okay, if I let u be equal to 2x over 4 plus 35, then u prime is 8x cubed. All right, but what is given is 8x squared, and that is not u prime. So what do we do? Can we multiply by something so that you got 8x cubed?
X over X.
One suggestion, you multiply by x over x. Now, question is, can we do that? Can you multiply by x over x? If we multiply by x over x, what we get is that you got x cubed, 8x cubed, and then you got another x down there. Okay, now can we multiply by x over x? The answer is you cannot. Okay, that's a good idea, but you cannot. Why? Because x over x is a ratio of variable. Okay, you cannot multiply by a ratio of variables. Okay, we can only multiply by ratio of what? Ratio of constants. Okay, that one you can, but you cannot multiply by x over x, because you multiply by x over x, you got the x at the bottom there, that will change everything. So the x is a variable that will change the function. Okay, and that make your life more difficult. So therefore, if you have something like this, okay, the problem is the x, right? In case that you need to find multiply by x over x. So for this kind of example or this kind of equation, we cannot integrate. So we make the rule, or you make the conclusion, we can't integrate by the power rule. Okay, there is other rule, we don't know, we don't learn that. But to apply the power rule, you cannot. Why? Because you simply cannot multiply by ratio of a variable to a variable. Okay, you cannot do that. You cannot multiply by x over x. You can multiply only by ratio of two constants. Okay, is that clear? All right, good. So your idea was good. Okay, because we follow consistently from the beginning. But we can only multiply by ratio of two constants, right? Not ratio of two variables. Okay. All right. So for that part 12.2, so I think I have given you enough principles. I would like you to do some questions, during the break, you just practice. From question number 3, you can do up to up to question number 20. Up to number 34. Do as many as you want. All right. Okay, anything? I think I'm going to stop here. Okay. Today I just plan to make a shorter class, because you'll be having a break on Wednesday. I think the break should be today, It's already a long first half. 10 weeks, our first half is 10 weeks. So I think you also got tired, So by this class, my mood is also being reduced. So we make it a short class. I think yours also, semangat pun dah kurang. So after the break, okay, you have a holiday, Hari Raya at your own home, probably we cannot go anywhere. So after the break, maybe your semangat dah. Semangat naik balik. Alright. Which you should have lah. Because you have the final coming up. Okay. So anything? I will stop here. And we will see you again after the holiday. Apa-apa? Any comment, anything? Tak ada? Okay, bagus. Ini program yang tak datang. Okay, so I will see you again. Have a nice break. Okay, Eid Mubarak. Eid Mubarak. Sebab hari raya lah. Sebab dah tak jumpa dah ni. Okay, kita jumpa after raya. So I will wish you selamat hari raya, Eid Mubarak to everyone. Take care. Okay, take care, because now you want to have some good time, but remember our constraint. The constraint is terrible. So I will see you again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, sir.
Waalaikumsalam. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Selamat Raya.
Selamat Hari Raya.
Terima kasih, sir.
Okay, thank you.